our beloved Commissioner, Commissioner Billy Tulay, of course, our colleague from other government agencies, fellow revenuers, good morning to everyone. This morning, I'm tasked to present to you the 5-year BIR's GAD Agenda. And so, Sir Com Dulay, I am glad to present to you the BIR's 5-year GAD Agenda. We in BIR have prepared a course of action to achieve the vision and mission of the BIR, Gender and Development. During the first GAD Assembly held in Pampanga last August 2017, the BIR GFPS crafted the vision and mission statements. And the vision was formulated to read as follows. The Bureau of Internal Revenue is a gender-responsive tax administration with competent, highly motivated, and empowered professionals. While the mission is to collect taxes through just enforcement of tax laws and delivery of quality and gender-responsive services. During the second and third GAD Assembly held in Baguio City and Davao City respectively, we came up with the 5-year GAD Agenda for the year 2019 to 2023. And recently, in the General Assembly that was held in the region of Cabamiro, this 5-year agenda was presented, discussed, and approved by the Philippine Commission on Women during the 4th GAD Assembly. This agenda is classified into 2 areas, the client focus and the organization focus. For the client-focused policies, since our main advocacy is to promote gender and taxation through the inclusion of gender and development in tax laws, the BIR is looking into full mainstreaming of GAD by integrating its principles with all the internal revenue taxes. Just like what we did in the gender issue in Section 79 of the National Internal Revenue Code, where a study paper with the help of Professor Leonor Biones was conducted. This is the case where under the old National Internal Revenue Code, where before the wife could claim as head of the family, there should be a waiver coming from the husband. So this provision is no longer applicable under the present National Internal Revenue Code. We are also looking into establishing a tax administration facility or tax clinic that will provide extensive gender-responsive assistance, service, and education to taxpayers. There will be a training of personnel who will station the clinic before implementing this plan. Part of our enabling mechanism is the establishment of a sex disaggregated database, or SDD, for external clients and internal stakeholders. Since there exists in BIR lack of awareness and appreciation for the value of SDD in terms of organizational planning and programming, the objective is to establish and utilize SDD for tracking gender effects to basic services, control of resources, enjoyment of rights and privileges, as well as promotions and rewards. For the organization-focused policies, the BIR's objective is to issue policy on the strict use of gender-fair language in all forms of communication, such as revenue issuances. They should be gender-sensitive and compliant with the international standards of agreement. Furthermore, we are also to issue policies on the uniform use of survey forms in gathering SDD for both internal and external clients. And there will be a developed SDD that will be utilized by the national and regional offices. Eventually, the data gathered from SDD will be necessary in generating reports for decision-making, like when formulating GAD plan and budget. In terms of promoting equity and anti-discrimination legislation, we will issue a policy that will ensure that all our employees are given equal opportunity in all core human systems, HR, human resource systems. In relation to that, when it comes to giving assignments and transferring employees, we will address the underlying issues concerning their gender or solo parents as well, by considering such cases. So we will revisit existing policies to comply with the Magna Carta of Women. In fact, for those who are aware, we are giving priority to avail the flexi time as provided for by the Civil Service Commission. One of the priority group to be given to avail such flexi time are solo parents. So by adopting this policy, this is the start of implementing our GAD. Regarding our Committee on Decorum and Investigation, or CODI, we're looking to create our own gender resource pool, and what comes with it is the strengthening of the said committee. There should be a CODI created in the national and local agencies, and what we need to do is to enable its members enhance their response or counseling to victims of sexual harassment and cases of violence against women. And that is one of our ways to avoid the stigma around the victims, to ensure them that they are protected, since they may be scared to report or express the details of the incident they went through. We want to raise awareness among all employees within the BIR, and we can do that through this committee. In fact, there is an existing CODI in the national office. For the GAD KPI, Key Performance Indicator, we want to have our own index of success indicators by aligning or integrating it with our BIR SPMS, so that it would be fair for the GFPS members who are performing the functions for development, implementation, and evaluation of GAD programs and projects. Everything they do for GAD will be reflected in their individual performance commitment form. There will also be policy statements and guidelines to be issued for the attribution of 5 to 100% of GAD budget, envision and attribute the BIR's major programs, activities, and projects to the GAD budget of the BIR to increase the gender responsiveness of BIR's program and budget. Apart from that, we will also be conducting deepening sessions or capacity building on GAD for officials and employees to determine other issues and concerns toward the development of interventions. As part of our objective to combat lack of awareness, support, and knowledge of clients in GAD-related programs, projects, and services, we are eyeing to establish GAD concerns in all BIR offices. These GAD corners will consist of GAD-related articles, information on GAD-related events, and copy of approved GAD plan and budget. We will push to have all members of the top management participate in the GAD strategic planning and in annual GAD planning and budgeting. Part also of our 5-year agenda is to conduct capacity development for the members of Bids and Awards Committee, as well as for project opponents and managers. Now, due to the limited resource persons, we acknowledge that there is difficulty in regional offices in outsourcing GAD resource speakers who can cater to the BIR. So, to address it, we're aiming to create an effective BIR GAD resource pool and target GAD trainers for the Philippine Tax Academy, where gender and development courses will soon be offered. When it comes to gender audit, in 2019, we will be conducting an assessment or survey for a targeted group to measure the impact of GAD efforts on the lives of BIR employees. It will help determine their needs, what is really happening, and yes, the impact of their lives of the GAD plans and programs we implement for them. On the issue of lack of recognition for individual offices that exert efforts in embracing the GAD advocacy, we want to establish policy guidelines on giving awards and incentives to deserving GAD advocates, GAD compliance office, and GAD performances. Encourage and instill our advocacy and people compliance. It is essential, therefore, to assess the status, the progress and improvement of the GAD plans and programs we implement, and we will do that by developing a customized and user-friendly harmonized guidelines checklist specifically for BIR or the finance sector. Lastly, we're looking forward to become more participative in the local and international GAD-related events. We commit to implement this agenda to ensure that the BIR in 5 years will be a gender-responsive agency. Thank you and good morning to everyone.